Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Julian Grace. Well, North Carolinians are learning more today about President Trump's extraordinary new tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and China, and the counter tariffs two of those nations immediately imposed as a response. There's so much to talk about. As we've been reporting, the tariffs will amount to a significant 25% duty on all imports from Mexico and most goods from Canada, and a 10% tariff on Chinese goods imported into the U.S. Many people want to know more information on how they will be impacted by all of this. Mexico's president immediately ordered retaliatory tariffs, and Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said he put matching 25% tariffs on up to $155 billion in U.S. imports. As WRAL's Laura Levine reports, people right here in the Triangle are bracing for the worst.
For years, families at local grocery stores have been paying more because of inflation.
We were lied to. We're going to see prices raised. I just bought double the amount of coffee I normally would.
Some shoppers at the Village District in Raleigh tell me they're now bracing for even higher price tags.
I have an elderly mother that is on a fixed income. I am a single person that's on a regular income, and that does concern me.
President Trump's order puts a 10% tariff on all goods coming in from China and 25% on imports from Mexico and Canada. This drew swift retaliation and an undeniable sense of betrayal from the country's key trade partners.
I can understand perhaps with China that they want to change China's behavior in terms of fairness in manufacturing and utilizing computer chips and things like that.
Gas, fresh produce, and consumer electronics are some of the top goods the U.S. imports from these countries. Economist Mike Walden says there are estimates the overall inflation rate in the country could go up to somewhere between 3% and 4% on an annualized basis.
And I certainly understand the desire on part of the administration potentially to have more manufacturing done in the U.S. But this is sticky when you have a system right now that is giving us, in many cases, lower priced products.
Collectively, these three countries accounted for 42% of the nearly $3 trillion worth of goods the U.S. imported worldwide last year. Here in North Carolina, our auto parts producing industry would get hit especially hard.
We don't yet have an up and functioning auto assembly plant. That's what VinFast is designed to do eventually. But that would mean that those auto parts that we make, that a lot of which go to Mexico for assembly, would have a tax on it, a tariff on it.
So if 10 and 20 and 30% tariffs go on $20,000, $30,000 vehicles, that's a lot of money for an average American.
The Trump administration said tariffs are aimed at curbing the flow of drugs and undocumented immigrants into the U.S. On Sunday, Trump wrote on his social media platform, "It will all be worth the price that must be paid."
I'm sure they would be happy to work with us with relation to illegal immigration problems as well as the fentanyl that's coming across the border. So I would hope that we could work with them as partners rather than as adversaries.
Laura Levine, WRAL News in Raleigh.
It has been 128 days since Hurricane Helene hit western North Carolina, causing catastrophic destruction. Lawmakers have encountered several obstacles with the recovery and rebuilding process. Now, newly elected Governor Josh Stein hopes to change that. WRAL's Willie Danley joins us live from the Legislative Building in downtown Raleigh with what we can expect from Governor Stein's budget recommendations. Willie.
Julian, tomorrow Governor Stein will unveil his proposed budget to fund recovery and rebuilding in western North Carolina. All of this is coming after earlier this week the governor announced a $30 million public-private partnership to help businesses impacted by the storm. During Hurricane Helene, around 74,000 homes were damaged. Officials estimate that roughly $60 billion in damage was done to the state of North Carolina. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle recognize the need for more more assistance for people in Western North Carolina, but they have differing ideas on how to fund the work that needs to be done. In his budget proposal, Governor Stein, who since being elected has already signed several executive orders targeting hurricane relief, is expected to announce his plan to come up with the funds to help thousands of North Carolinians impacted by the storm. Governor Stein's announcement will be tomorrow morning in Henderson County. Keep an eye on WRAL for the latest information. Willie Danley, WRAL News, live at the state legislature.
People will be eager to hear what the governor has to say. Well, speaking of help for Western North Carolina, the Global Crisis Response nonprofit, co-funded by actor Sean Penn, held a ribbon-cutting ceremony in Buncombe County this weekend. It happened at the Allen Campos Mobile Home Park in Swannanoa. The mobile homes are for families who were displaced by Helene. The event welcomed the first 3 families right there moving into the homes that have been completed. There are a total of 21 homes. The Wake County Sheriff's Office identified the man shot and killed just yesterday. Investigators say 38-year-old Sean Rouse was found with a gunshot wound in the driver's seat of a car on Stag Trail near Wendell. In this video of the scene, taken by our breaking news tracker, you can see what appears to be 2 cars crashed in the area. It's not clear which car Rouse was driving or whether the driver of the other car was involved in the shooting at all. Deputies believe this was an isolated incident and say there is no threat to the public. They're asking anyone with information about the shooting to call investigators. They want to hear from you. Police are looking for this man right here. They say he is armed and dangerous. This is 21-year-old Khalil Johnson. There's a warrant for his arrest, charging him with first-degree murder. He's accused of killing Amon McGugan on January 29th. Anyone with information is asked to call the Johnston County Police Department.
And new tonight in the WRAL Live Center, the remains of 55 victims in this week's mid-air collision near Washington, D.C. have been recovered and identified. Now take a look at this video. That update comes the same day as a private memorial service held off the Potomac for the families of those victims. Law enforcement led a dozen-plus buses there, and as we see them lined up on the shore, it gives tragic perspective on just how many people were directly impacted by this crash. Again, 55 people positively identified so far, but there are 67 victims in total. Back to you.
Support continues to come in there. A memorial ride clogged Greensboro streets this morning. Motorcycles, cars, and Jeeps gathered in a powerful show of support for Officer Michael Horan. A gunman shot and killed Horan late last year while he responded to a call at a Food Lion. Members of Back the Blue say today's turnout is a testament to the impact Horan had on the city.
You had representation from not only the law enforcement side, but from the community side as well. And so just the large number that we saw there today really reflects how much the community and the department loved Officer Horan.
During the ride, drivers purchased a memorial sticker for their vehicles, with all the proceeds going directly to Horan's family. A major coastal water cleanup. Fishing crews spent a month removing lost gear. Just ahead, the signs that the project is paying off. Plus, it's Groundhog's Day. 2 local weather predicting animals weigh in. Only one of them is a groundhog. Anthony.
And we have your official forecast for you this evening, Julian. Here's a look across the region. We're looking pretty good. Light shower activity there closer to Wilmington. We could see the potential, though, for some fog tonight. We're going to talk about where that could set up here after the break.
Here's a shot of North Hills all lit up on this Sunday evening. Doesn't that just look beautiful? Welcome back. The murder of 2 foster kids in North Carolina and the arrest of their adoptive mother has child welfare officials and lawmakers asking what went wrong. The WRAL Doc unit investigates the tragic case of Blake and London Devon, uncovering systematic failures in North Carolina's foster care system. The documentary will bring you through the entire case, from how Avante Devon was able to adopt 5 children from 3 counties to what detectives say happened to Blake and London. WRAL investigative documentary reporter Kristen Severance interviewed WRAL anchor Chris Lovingood, who has reported on this case from the very beginning. Social workers and family members of victims, we hear from them as well.
The story just had so many holes.
All we knew that these children were missing for years and no pictures and no credible story.
And I'm sorry, I just feel like if you're going to take a child away from their biological parents, period, point blank, you should do some thorough investigation on that person you're going to be handing that kid over to.
The documentary uncovers how the foster care system is structured, funded, and how it failed to protect the children it was meant to save. Watch Broken Foster Care in North Carolina Thursday at 7:30 on WRAL, or an extended version of the documentary on WRALdoc.com. Eno River State Park is expanding by 200 acres. The State Department of Natural and Cultural Resources says the acquisition process started in 2021. The addition includes a 4-mile walking trail surrounding the only surviving dirt speedway from NASCAR 1949's inaugural season. An official ribbon cutting to celebrate the expansion is planned for this spring. January was often bitter cold, right? But that didn't stop more than a dozen commercial fishing crews from getting out on the water to find lost fishing gear. It's part of a month-long cleanup project. Every year since 2014, the North Carolina Coastal Federation, in partnership with the North Carolina Division of Marine Fisheries, has been hiring commercial fishing crews to help find and remove lost crab pots.
And it was an idea we had years ago to team up with the expertise of the commercial fishermen and the blue crab fishermen themselves. They have the boats to get where we need to go. And of course, the boats have the capacity to then hold and store the crab pots that they are finding and bringing back. And they have just this knowledge of the waterways from being out there.
The Lost Fishing Gear Recovery Project has ended in several parts of the state, but will begin again in March in the southeastern stretch of the coastal waters. Punxsutawney Phil caught sight of his shadow this morning, meaning 6 more weeks of winter this year. Here locally, Garner's Snurd emerged to give her own prediction. Now, she didn't see her shadow, predicting an early spring for us here in the Triangle.
I was nervous, to tell you the truth. I was about fed up with this cold weather. Fortunately, Snurd agreed and said spring is coming soon.
Yes, bring it on. Garner's Groundhog Day celebration was held at White Deer Park. Apex weather predicting animal agreed. Sylvia, the town's armadillo, did not see her shadow either, predicting an early spring as well. I like that. Bring on spring. Bring it on now, Anthony. You know what? Is this spring showers since we're dealing with an early spring? Are you tracking some showers right now?
Yeah, a little bit of light rain for us on radar, Julian. I guess they're both kind of right. We have some temperatures this week that are screaming spring in the 70s, but then looking into the middle part of the month, I was just looking at the forecast here a little bit ago, and it looks like we may have a dip back down into feeling like winter. So we'll give credit to both of them here. But we have your official forecast this evening. Such a fun tradition there. Here's where we sit, though, on satellite and radar. We have a little bit of that light rain. It's what we call a coastal trough. And so you can clearly see kind of where that's set up right there. It's a very localized area of low pressure that adds some lift into the atmosphere. It's mainly going to stay east of the triangle, and like we were talking about last night, is a potential. It's so spotty at this point that not much is coming down right around, let's say, Goldsboro, Rocky Mount, even Smithfield. East of the triangle is where we're watching that right now. And it's generally pushing here, I would say, up to the northeast, and will be done within the next probably 15 minutes to maybe an hour or so. Here's Futurecast. You can see it's very hard to make out there just because it is so localized. We get closer to 9 o'clock, we're all looking dry, and even by midnight, we're looking fine. Cloud cover will start to thin out tonight, though, and that will set the stage, which we'll talk about here in a second, for a little bit of fog also trying to form. We look at temperatures right now, though. We're at 51. It's decently comfortable in Raleigh, 50 in Southern Pines. A little bit chilly, though, for some of us. 44 in Goldsboro, 45 right now in South Hill. So if you're headed out the next couple of hours, maybe just a light jacket. Tomorrow morning, though, we dip down into the 30s and 40s. I would have some layers on, maybe the winter coat. 36 is where we're waking up there. Roxboro, 42 in Goldsboro, also 42 in Clinton, with some fog also possible. Now, at this point, it's not a guarantee that we're going to see this form, but it does look like a along and east of I-95 would be the greatest potential to see some of this. The National Weather Service specifically mentions that it does not look like it's going to be widespread, but anytime we get these localized patches, you just saw an update right there, this can definitely cause some issues on the road. So just be careful. Look for that tomorrow morning. You can see if this model were to verify, and I do think it's doing a pretty good job, it would be mainly confined to, let's say, Goldsboro, Fayetteville, out of Wake County, but still that potential is there for a lot of us southeast of the Triangle. Look at temperatures tomorrow, though. We start off chilly. We'll be in the 30s and 40s, 69 degrees tomorrow afternoon, 61 by 6 o'clock. That starts a very warm pattern for the upcoming week. Like we've been talking about, some ups and downs. We're in the upper 60s tomorrow, 74 on Tuesday. We get a cold front coming through. We'll be at 55, so that's actually still above where we should be this time of the year. 75 on Thursday, 66 on Friday, and even looking into next weekend, many 70s are still going to be in the forecast. We need some rainfall. This is a definite, we definitely need, I would say. I don't think we're going to see much over the next 7 days. There is a slight chance there Wednesday into Thursday, 30% chance at best, mainly during the night time frame where we could pick up on a few light showers. It doesn't look like a lot, but any bit will help. So that's something we're going to continue to watch. Look at all those fluctuations though in temperatures. Upper 60s for us tomorrow, 74 on Tuesday, 55 Wednesday. We see many 50s, 60s, and 70s there, Julian. So like I said, we're seeing some spring. We're also seeing some winter for us, a combo this week.
All right. Thanks, Anthony. Oh. Duke. Can we talk about him again?
I think we can. That's a good response there, Julia. Number 2 Duke rolls past rival UNC, a moment that will ripple out and impact the rest of their season. So why the clock is ticking for Carolina and the NCAA tournament, and how Duke could be making history. That's coming up in sports. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Any chance for the UNC men's basketball team to get to the NCAA tournament is nearly gone. Let me tell you why. UNC is 13-10 this season, 6-5 in ACC play. After winning 4 straight in conference play, they've lost 4 of 5. The one win coming at home in overtime to one of the worst teams in the conference, Boston College. The team's net ranking has dropped all the way to 44. What gets you to the NCAA tournament? In simplest terms, don't lose to bad teams and beat good teams. UNC doesn't really have bad losses, but it doesn't have good wins either. According to the NCAA's net rankings against Quad 1 teams, which are tournament teams for the most part, UNC is now 1-9, the lone win against UCLA. The Tar Heels played a very difficult non-conference schedule, which is great, but it doesn't really matter if you don't win games. UNC has about 3 more chances to pick up signature wins: home against Pittsburgh, at Clemson, and home against Duke. Let's see if they can make some changes.
They whooped us. They kicked us straight in the back, right from the jump. We respond quick enough. They got hot.
I told them this is a great lesson in life. There are going to be speed bumps and traffic and wind and rain. And how do you react, how you respond when it's a sunny day and when it's a windy day?
Things are certainly sunny for number 2 Duke. With 10 games left in the regular season, it's time to officially put the Blue Devils on undefeated watch. Duke has yet to lose a conference game. They're 11-0. KenPom, a college basketball advanced analytics website, gives a win percentage for each game left in the season. Of the 9 conference games Duke has left, KenPom gives them at least a 93% chance or better to win 7 of them. An 80% chance to win at UNC to end the season, and the best chance, in air quotes, at a loss is Saturday on the road against Clemson. That's a 69% chance to win. So keep this in the back of your mind. The last team to go undefeated in ACC men's play was Duke in the 1998-99 season. The season ended with a loss in the national championship game.
We've had to find what our way is in 2024 and 2025 and going forward. And some of it's timing. And for this group, I mean, we knew we had some special guys coming in, and then we had to get some special guys with them or around them. I think it's all about having the right guys, regardless of age. I think it's about mindset, competitiveness, and our young guys have it.
UNC women's basketball is trying to finish out a 2-game road trip to California with wins over some good ACC opponents. They beat Cal earlier in the week. Stanford now going on a big run in the 4th quarter. This one is to bring it within 1 and one. The free throw ties the game. Renaya Kelly gets the jumper to give them a 2-point lead with about 3 minutes left. Renaya Kelly keeps her balance, keeps her dribble, even when she falls. And let's watch the play finish out. Pull-up three, because you gotta kind of heat check in a moment like that. It's a tight game. 69-67. Alyssa Usby trying to get the stop. And she does. Usby had, I believe, 4 threes in this one, too. UNC wins 69-67. Big 2-game stretch for the Tar Heels. And don't forget, NASCAR is back in preseason form, at least, and it's right at our doorstep. Bowman Gray Stadium in Winston-Salem hosts the Clash. First time it's hosted a NASCAR race in more than 50 years. You can check it out tonight at 8 p.m. on Fox 50, Julian.
All right, we'll be watching. Thank you, Lewis, and thanks for joining us. NBC Nightly News is next. We'll have another local newscast right here tonight at 11 o'clock. We will see you then. Take it easy.